Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to talk about creating a CMA. So CMA stands for Comparable Market Analysis, also known as a comparative market analysis. People are going to say it differently, so it means the same thing in real estate. And does anybody know what a CMA is or how it's used? Anybody?
Yes.
It's
It's used to help somebody get a strong estimate on the value of their home.
Exactly, like that. All right, so you can use this in two ways. You can use this with the seller to give them an estimate of how much the property is worth based on recent sales, comparable sales. But you can also use this when you're representing a buyer. So and we talked about this in the working with the buyer in the purchase process class, where when you're working with the buyer and they finally don't want to submit an offer on the property, they're going to ask you, how much do you think I should offer? Or how much is this home worth? Well, you're going to do the same thing that we're going to learn today that you usually do for a seller for the buyer, right? So you're going to look up the recent sales and see what the last one's closed for and tell them, look, this is what the last similar properties closed for. So you're going to be safe offering this amount. If you want to offer above that, you can, but just make sure you don't offer anything less than that because you might not get it. But you're showing real data, you're showing evidence, showing them information. And so the first thing we're going to do is you get a call, right, from a potential seller from your marketing, from all the marketing efforts that you put out there. And the seller, the homeowner calls you up and says, hey, I'd like to know how much my property's worth. So the first thing you need to know is what's the property address, right? Maybe you ask them if they've done any renovations or any upgrades to the property, things like that. Maybe ask them how much they owe on the property. So, you'll get a feel for what questions to ask as you go forward. But the first thing that we want to do now with that information, is contact the title company. We contact Mary. And we want the title profile of the property. The title profile of the property is going to show us who the owner is. Is the person that called us the owner of the property? We want to make sure that we're talking to the decision maker, right? So once you've obtained that property profile, keep that in a file somewhere. And the next thing you want to do is go into the MLS and look up this listing or this property. There must have been a listing at some point in the MLS. In most cases, you're going to find that, but there's going to be those occasions where you're not going to find any history of that property. So in my case, the owner of 10 Silver Breeze in Irvine called me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in 10 Silver Breeze and just hit enter. Well, what do you know? This property sold back in 2005. And now the owner of the property is calling me for a valuation. They bought it back in 2005 for $1,060,000. So what I'm going to do is click on MLS ID. I'm going to print this out for my reference. You guys can download the PDF if you don't want to print, but just so we can have this as a reference, we have it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,570 square foot home on a 5,115 square foot lot. 2-car garage. It says it's got 3 or more levels. Where's the 3rd level? And it says this is in Woodbridge in the subdivision Landing 1. So now that I have the owner's information and I have the property address and the characteristics of the property, now I know where to look for comparable properties, right? So let me make sure I'm following my outline here. So now we're going to search the MLS for comparable properties, comparable sales. Does everybody understand so far what we've done? Find out what the property address is from the seller.
Can you come back just one page? To come back before, yeah. Okay, so, okay. Oh, okay. List ID, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna find out the property address. We're gonna get the property profile from the title company. Or, or in addition to the property profile, you can click on the tax records here by clicking on the parcel number.
What is possible?
Yes, and it will show you who the owners are. But it's good to have the tax record and the title profile because they might have conflicting information, and then you would then contact the title company and Mary and say, hey, Mary, who's the actual
Right.
owner? Right? So in this case, it says that this is the owner, and my property profile that I obtained from Mary tells me that the owner of the property is it's owned by a trust. Same person, but it's in a trust. So I'm gonna go by what the title profile tells me. And if you're not sure, you wanna talk to Mary and have her clear it up for you. But this property is in a trust, so now I know that this, and it's this person's name is in the trust, so I know that this is probably the trustee of the trust. So I know I'm probably talking to the right person. Right? All right, let's close out of that. So now we're gonna look for comparable sales. Anything that's closed in the past 3 months, anything that's on the market, anything that's pending. And we just use those for reference, the pending and active, just to see what other people are listing them at. What we really need is the actual sales data. So what we're gonna do is, let's go back to the homepage here. And again, we're in the MLS, so I'm not sure if any of you have not, if there's anyone here that has not logged into the MLS and done a search, but if there is, we can talk later and I can show you how to do that. But we're gonna go to search, residential detail. And we're gonna click on active, active under contract, pending and closed. And it automatically defaults to 6 months. But let's do 3 months. You know what, I'm gonna leave the 6 months in there. And if I need to whittle it down, then we'll whittle it down, but I'll leave the default on there for 6 months. And this is I'm referencing the old MLS printout. This is a single family home. SFR detached, so single family home. And is it attached? No, it's detached. Okay. And then Orange County. This is Irvine.
You don't have to put the zip code. Oh, it said.
No, I'm doing Irvine, and I'm going to do subdivision. Actually, it's in Woodbridge, so let's click on Woodbridge. And the subdivision is landing 1, but I'm gonna leave this alone. I'm not gonna whittle that far down into it right now. And I'm looking for 4-bedroom properties, so bedrooms, we're gonna say 4 bedrooms. And what I like to do is, we're not gonna use the exact square footage of 2570. We're gonna do a couple hundred square feet less and a couple hundred square feet more, just so it'll give us more results. So living area is, instead of 2570, I'm gonna say 2200 square feet to 2750 square feet, give or take, right? And it gives me 5 matches. You see this at the bottom? It says 5 matches. So what I wanna do is click on the map to see where they're located. All right. Let me type in the address of my subject property here. Here's my subject property. There are only 2 comps in this neighborhood. And this community over here is probably gonna be different from this community up here. So right now, this is probably a better comp. But let's see. I'm gonna click on results. And when I click on results, it gives me a summary of all these properties, right, that it found, and some of them are sold. One's pending, the other one's active under contract, which I guess is pretty much in escrow, they're both in escrow, right? And we're looking at the square footage. Mine is 2570, so everything around in here is within that square footage. So these could be pretty good comps here, but let's look at a few other things. Mine was built in 1980. So these are pretty close in age. Big difference in price though. Let's take a look at this and see why this was sold for that much. Pictures tell a good story. Okay. Now let's look at the next one. This one sold for 2.65. And the next one sold for under 2 million. So what's the difference? This is, let's see, there's only one picture here. That house probably doesn't look as upgraded. Picture is what it's done.
Original owners and so on. So
Yeah, original owner's probably not gonna do anything to it. This one sold for 2.14. There's only one picture here. That doesn't help us.
interesting that sold for quite a bit over the list price as well.
Yeah,
He's
2.5. All right, there's pictures on this one. This one looks nice too. That's why they got 2.5. So, let's see, this is Woodbridge, this is Landing 2, this is a different neighborhood. We're looking at Landing 1, but we don't have that many comps for Landing 1. So let me go back to criteria because there might be a big difference in the type of homes too, the layouts and everything. So let me click here, go to Landing 1. And there's only one match. And that one match was, God, 2.6. This is our comp, the 2.6. Let's go back a little further. No, you know what? Let's do this. Sometimes you're not gonna get the exact matches that you're looking for, based on selecting the tracks. Here's the thing, some tracks, you can, let me backtrack a little bit. You're in Woodbridge. And Woodbridge consists of, I'm not sure how many tracks, let's just say there's 20, 50 tracks in Woodbridge, okay? Each track might be completely different. One might be detached homes versus attached homes versus condos versus built in 2020 versus built in 1985, right? So you're gonna have different tracks built in different years with different floor plans and different square footage. And maybe this tract has an HOA and this one doesn't, or maybe this one has more amenities. So they're gonna be priced differently. So you have to look for something that's as close to the property that you're evaluating as possible. Sometimes you're not gonna find the exact thing, but you have to just reach and try to find something. Because what the appraisers are gonna do is they're gonna go like a mile radius around and try to find anything that's similar to it. And sometimes they don't do as great of a job as we do looking for comps because they're not realtors. They don't know the area. It might be an appraiser coming from LA, coming from Riverside or something, right? And they're just not familiar with the area. So we have to come up with the comps, I guess as close to the property as possible, as far as characteristics. But in this case, I showed you guys one way of doing it. But let's do this. Let's enter the address here, 10 Silver Breeze. And select it from the list here and say we want to go half a mile around this area, but I'm gonna deselect the subdivision. And that still doesn't give me any more matches than that. So let's go a little bit further. Let's go a mile out. That gives me one more result. Let's see what that is. Okay, I'll take it. It's close to it. This is that other one that we liked. That was a little bit more. you know what? I like these two comps, I'm gonna use them as comps. So because there's not that many comps, I don't wanna go back further than 6 months because it was a different market past 6 months ago. So I'm gonna use what we have here. We're gonna go to results. And, sorry, let me change this back to the one line display. There's two comps, I wanna use these two comps, that's all there is. Sometimes you're gonna have more than this, which is better. But this is all we have, so we're gonna work with this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the comps. If you have 10 results, you can just check mark the ones that you wanna use. And then we're gonna click on Cloud CMA. You guys see this at the bottom? Cloud CMA,
What different is this CMA and the other CMA? I saw the.
this one's better.
Oh,
It looks better, they have more options as far as pages, things like that. So the first time that you click on Cloud CMA, it's gonna ask you to enter your profile, your contact information, so make sure you set that up, and then it'll never ask you again. But once you set that up, you're gonna see this page. And so what I'm gonna call this CMA is I'm gonna call it by the property address. That's what I'm gonna name it. And then so you also have to type in the property address here. There it is. And it's gonna auto-populate 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 25, 47 square feet. You can leave that alone. And if you scroll down a little bit, you're gonna see the MLS numbers down here that it's bringing from the MLS to create the report. All you have to do now is click on fetch listings. What it's doing now is pulling all the data from the MLS into this program to create the reports.
That you,
Yeah. So it's gonna show you a map of where the properties are located, and then this blue pin is the subject property. And then it's gonna show you the properties down here at the bottom. And you can type in a suggested list price. I'm not gonna type that in. Maybe it's something I'm gonna have written down on a separate piece of paper, so I can discuss with the owner, but they're gonna have their own idea of what they want listed at. But it's your job to inform them, educate them, and show them evidence as to what the recent sales are and why their price is way off. Or why they're accurate on their price, right? They're not always gonna be wrong.
So if you're sitting with a seller and you show them this and they say, oh, so there's one at 2.65, okay, I want to list mine for that. And then you say, well, yeah, we can try that, but just so you know, these two houses here, both got three bathrooms, your house only has 2.
Mhm.
You may need to,
Yes.
how do you make them make that adjustment without offending them?
We'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I'll get to that. So, and that's something you're gonna include in the report that I'll show you a little bit later here. So you can type in suggested list price if you want, but I usually don't do it separately. So we don't have to do anything here. We're gonna click on customize report here at the top. And now the first time you log into this, it's gonna include these are all the pages included in your report, in your CMA, all of these. But the first time you log in, it's gonna include everything, all of those pages, everything. So it's your job to go through and decide what you wanna keep and what you wanna remove from here. So if you wanna remove one of these pages, you just hover over and click the minus sign, and it's gonna remove it from your report. But just to show you what I have here, I'm just gonna go ahead and click on publish report. Once you select the pages that you want, it's gonna keep that as a template, so the next time you create a CMA, it's only gonna keep those pages. Click on publish report. And I'll show you guys what it looks like. Then I'm gonna click on view PDF. So this is the cover page. And So here you probably have the owner's names. My information, here's that map. The properties. And here's a summary of the properties. Let me zoom into this here so you guys can see it better. So the average square feet is 2593. Our property is 2570. That's pretty close, right?
Yeah.
The average sold price is 2,585,000. And the average price per square foot is 998. So something that we can do is we could say, use that average price per square foot, 998 times our square footage of 2570 equals, maybe this could be our suggested list price, 2,564,000 or 565. And this is based on average price per square foot times the square footage of the subject property. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So that's one way of evaluating the property. Another way is just use the average price, sold price here. This could be the list price. There's no exact science, there's gonna be different, you're gonna get different results.
What did you come up with on your calculator when you did it? Was it almost the same as that?
It was it 565?
I can't remember.
That's
It was
pretty
it was
close.
almost, it was
Yeah.
almost
Same.
exactly that.
Yeah, it was pretty close. Or you could go somewhere in between. So there's different ways, right? You're gonna come up with different pricing, different ways. So, it'll show you that, let's see, let's keep scrolling down. Now, these are the listings. It's gonna show us information for each listing. And again, I didn't mention this, but the condition of the property is going to help determine the price, right? So if everything's upgraded, you're gonna go towards the higher price of the suggested list price. If the property is all original, you're probably not gonna price it that high. You're gonna price it on the lower side, on the lower end. So this is gonna help you, the listings portion of this, because what you're gonna do is you're also gonna print out the listings and all the pictures for those listings that were in the MLS. And guess what? When you go in there, well, first of all, it's gonna show you the information on the property, right? So this is, it's got 3 full baths, and again, like you mentioned, Jonathan, ours is only 2 bathrooms. Let's keep scrolling here. Read the description, right? And highlight things that you think are important. There's pictures of the property here. Now, when you show this to the owner of the subject property, they're gonna be like, wow, that's beautiful. My house doesn't look like that. So then you're setting up expectations, right? This is why they got that much money. Look at the upgrades. Look at how beautiful it is, right? And as you're sitting down with them and showing them the pictures, say, look at these floors, upgraded floors, look at the kitchen cabinets, look at the lighting, look at the maybe crown molding, whatever it is. And then the seller's gonna be, you don't even have to say anything. In their mind, they're gonna be thinking, I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that, right? You don't even have to mention it, but if you have to, you can. When it comes down to price, right? Now, this other property, beautiful. Look at this.
It could almost be the same house, actually.
Yeah, it could.
Very close.
But if their property looks similar to this, then guess what? We can price it similar to these. Now, the analysis. The analysis shows that this is the average price per square foot. Average days on market is 8 days on the market. So we could say, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, if we price it right, you can expect the property to sell pretty quickly. Because the average days is 8 days on the market, right?
And that's because you went only 6 months back, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a different market now?
Yes.
Is that what you recommend? Don't go further than that because it used to be different?
There's some areas that you're going to find, you're not gonna find any comps for if you go six months back. And these are areas, maybe people don't move.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a neighborhood where people just don't move, so you might have to go a little further back. Either further back in time or a wider range, radius around the property. Which then kind of screws up the valuation, right? Because it's not similar properties, but that's all you have to work with.
Can you just get close to the square footage then at that point? Just get something similar to their square footage? and-
Yeah, similar, if it's 2 levels, if it's, similar square footage, maybe off a couple hundred square feet. It's got the same number of bedrooms, maybe not the same number of baths, that might be different. Maybe a lot size the same, but then you can't compare it to a house that's got a view.
Right.
Right? So this is where you're gonna run into some issues. You're gonna have some comparables that have a beautiful view. Right? And you're gonna have to take that into account.
That's worth it.
How much is the view worth? Is it worth $20,000? Is it a beach, ocean view? That could be $100,000, right? So luckily, this property is in Irvine, and it's in Woodbridge, so I don't think there's any beach views there, ocean views. So on average, these sellers got 106.18% of what their listing price was. So original list price for this one was 2.488, and they got 2.650. Original price here was 2.38, they got 2.52. So what does that tell me? Maybe we should list it a little bit lower than what we're actually gonna get. Or you price it right, maybe you'll just get offers at that price.
Certainly shows it's a hot market. They both sold within 10 days.
Right.
And got more than the asking price.
But all this information is important to talk to your sellers about, right? Look, they priced it at this price and they got above list price. Days on market, 8 days, average square feet, price per square foot is 998, so maybe this is what you go with for pricing the property. Same thing here, so this is the end of my CMA. So this is what I include, but guess what, that's not all I include. There's also, if you go into my CV desk, there's a Coldwell Banker seller's presentation. That you can, I guess, pick and choose what pages you want to keep, right? Like, I don't know, I don't like that one, I don't like that one. There's certain pages I want to keep from here to include in my presentation. This is one of them. Coldwell Banker is in 40 countries and territories, and these are the different countries we're in. We have over 100,000 agents, right? So now when you're talking about, we're gonna talk about this during the listing presentation class, when you're actually sitting down with the homeowner. But these are things you're gonna wanna talk about during that listing presentation. One of the things you're gonna cover is their property and the value of the property, the comparable sales and price and everything, right? But another thing is you're gonna wanna sell yourself, because there might be other agents that are interviewing with the seller. And what sets you apart from everybody else? What sets you and your company apart from everybody else? You're with Coldwell Banker Platinum Properties. Coldwell Banker is one of the biggest names in the world. We're in 40 countries and territories. Why wouldn't you want to list with us, right? So these are things like I guess quotables is what they call these. They're quotables that you want to use to make you look better, right? You want to promote yourself, your company, your services. I would include this page,
So this one is go to the co-banker website, right?
mycbdesk.com. Yes.
You can just print it from there.
Yeah, you can download this whole thing, and then just pick the pages you want. Let's see, what else am I gonna want? Maybe this page. Maybe you want to include this page saying that you pay for photography for their listing, right? Maybe maybe tailor it to what you do. Maybe this one. Definitely this one. #1 most visited real estate brand online, Coldwell Banker. Again, you can personalize these pages, but I just want to show you what's in this presentation. And you can pick and choose what you want. You can customize some of these, you can
Where do you find those?
change the text on mycbdesk.com.
On the main page?
No, you're gonna type in the search box, you can type in seller presentation. And then it's gonna show you a bunch of results. You're gonna click on the seller presentation PowerPoint file. Yeah, so just to show you guys what's on this. Again, I wouldn't use all of this. This is overkill. Plus, you don't want them to read a book. You just want to highlight the important things. The selling points. If you know how to translate this to them, this is a good one. Study this. Use it. That's all of it. 37 pages. Geez, I will not use that many pages. So any questions on that?
No.
Okay, so what you wanna do, I like to print this out, print out the pages that I wanna keep from the Colo Banker presentation and bind them together. You put them in a folder, you can do whatever you want, but this is what you're gonna hand the seller, the homeowner. They're gonna keep this, they're gonna read it when you leave, they're gonna compare it to whatever anyone else brought. There are gonna be some agents that are gonna show up to the listing presentation and not bring this. I remember hearing stories about one agent that just showed up to the house and looked around, said, I think your home is worth this much. But he was one of the neighborhood, farming agents. But it's like, okay, you just looked at my house and you just decided that's how much it's worth. Where's the evidence? Where's the information? How do you, where did you get this from? You just pulled the number out of thin air. And maybe he was right. Maybe he just did the work and the research and then came up with the number and came in and said, okay, I know what number I'm coming in with now. Let me see the condition of the property. I'll adjust it based on what it looks like, but people like to see something, right?
Better, yeah, you do your homework.
Yeah, they like to see, and there's gonna be some people that say, oh,
Yeah.
don't print it out, just send me the PDF and, whatever, you work with what you have, right? If that's what they want, then you can bring your tablet or laptop and open it up and show them a presentation. Guess what? There's another way to view this. There's the view live option in Cloud CMA. And you can click on that when you bring your laptop in and then do it this way.
Do we have folders at all to purchase or like CBD? folders?
I believe, yes.
There are buyers and sellers presentations you can buy on my CB desk. I've seen them, but they seem quite expensive for what they are. But they look very
Yeah,
classy.
Professional.
it's not working. Just again. Anyway, if this doesn't come up, this is like an online version of the PDF that we just downloaded and I showed you. Of the CMA itself, where you can click on the property and go through the pictures and everything. Like, it looks like an MLS printout, sort of. This is not working right now, I don't know why. I'm not gonna wait for it, but anyway, if you guys wanna create one and click on view live, you can see what it looks like there. So let me go back to this outline here. All right, I've covered everything. So another thing that you might wanna do is, let me close out of Cloud CMA. Close out of the PDF. I'm gonna go back to the MLS. And go back to the home page. So just to, I guess, not confirm, but validate what listing price you came up with based on the comps, you can go into Realtor Property Resource to see what their, I don't even know, it's AV something value. I'll show you guys in a second. There's, just like Zillow, these programs have this, I don't know if it's AI algorithm that just generates a suggested list price based on the recent sales in the area and everything, and it takes all the data into consideration, and then it just says, this is what the property's worth, right? It's a valuation. I'll show you what that looks like. The Zestimate, that's one of those valuations where it's just generated based on the surrounding sales. We're gonna talk about Zillow as well, but what we wanna do is we wanna go to links. And then we want to go to Realtor Property Resource, which is here. You're gonna click on Realtor Property Resource. And we want to create a CMA. Right here, see that?
But this is the other way, right? The
Yes.
different way, but still.
Yeah.
CMA.
Okay, so now it wants an address. So this one is 10 Silver Breeze.
Where we go to the meeting?
This is CB desk.
No,
Where?
it was from the MLS.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Okay.
we're in MLS,
Uh-huh,
I'll go a little bit slower,
yeah, please.
and you go over to links
Oh, okay.
on the top right corner, right here.
Oh, still is MLS.
And then once you're in links, you're gonna scroll down and find Realtor Property Resource, which is right here. And click on this icon to the left. And then it's gonna take you to Realtor Property Resource, and then on that home page, I clicked on Create a CMA. And it took me to this page. And I entered the address. And this is the valuation it gave me here. Estimated value generated by an automated valuation model that uses on-market and off-market MLS listing data plus publicly reported sold data to provide an estimated property value. RVM is our most accurate estimated value. So this is generated automatically, you know, using the data from the MLS and other sources. But that's not the price we came up with. And they're saying that this is how much it's worth, but we saw that sales, the other homes sold for 2.5, 2.6.
This is actually a great tool, isn't it? So if you want to make somebody happy, go along and say, this is what this says, but I think I can get you a lot more based
Well,
on this.
Well, let's go to Zillow. So let's see what Zillow says. Actually, I'm just gonna type in the address and it's gonna take me to Zillow. So just type in the address in the search box in Google. And then it's gonna show me Zillow, right? Zillow's always has something to say about it. And look at Zillow's estimate. Estimated home market value is 2.478.
It's higher. Yes.
Yeah, but ours was 2.5,
Five something, yeah.
6 or 2.58.
Yeah,
Higher.
So in this case, maybe in their mind, the sellers are thinking, oh, Zillow says my home's worth 2.47. Guess what, homeowner? Your home's worth $100,000 more than that. Because Zillow doesn't know what the hell they're talking about, and I do, and here's the evidence, right? Again, you're gonna add condition into the mix if property's original. Maybe 2.5, right? But the home's always worth what someone's willing to pay for it, right? If it's a hot market and there's low inventory, you're gonna get more than what it's actually worth.
And then below, it's got that estimate range, which is quite a large range, so they almost can't be wrong, can they?
Yeah, but this is the value they gave you, and you're not giving them a range, you're giving them.
Yeah.
You're giving them a number. So. What do you guys think?
Right?
Pretty
Do your
cool, right?
homework, yeah. Just
Yeah.
Do all the research and get information.
Right.
Any questions? Any questions at home? Okay. So let me do another CMA here. Let's look for, here, let's do CMA. I like to do CMA on one of my past sales because it's just easier to find. Let's do the 32 Sutton. So this is, let me write this down, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, 2363 square feet, 4145 square foot lot, and single family residence detached.
Currently sale,
No, this sold like 4 years ago, I think.
that's why the price good.
Oh, yeah, so, and this is Oak Creek. And it's Cricket Club is the tract. No, you'd like that.
Interesting name for Irvine.
Okay, and I know the owners' names, right? So this is the Heffling Family Trust. So now what I'm gonna do, I have the data that I need. I'm gonna go into the MLS, I'm gonna look for active, active under contract, pending, closed. And it's gonna be single family residence, attached, no, it's detached. And then it's Orange County. Irvine. And this is gonna be Oak Creek. It's not gonna let me find it, right there, Oak Creek. Let me see what comes up, because there's only 3 matches here in Oak Creek. Let me see where they're located. Go back to criteria. Let's do this, let's type in the property address here. What was it? 32 Sutton?
Yes.
Jeez, I don't even remember. So long ago. There it is. And we're gonna do within a mile radius around it, and still 3 matches. Let's just take actually, we have to add the bedrooms, so 4 bedrooms. We don't need to add the bathrooms, we're good with that. We're gonna add square footage, so the square footage is 4145, so we're gonna say 3,900 to, I don't know, 4,350 square feet. No matches, bless you. So there have not been any sales here, I don't believe that. Let's go back 365. There's no way. Let me remove this from here. That might be. No matches.
No holiday?
It can't be right. There's no way.
Maybe,
Let me remove the, let me leave that alone.
365 days, that's the last
Yeah,
year,
365 days. There's no way that there's no home sold there.
in this last year.
Yeah. Let me remove the square footage. Sometimes you're gonna have to remove certain,
or maybe it's go
Criteria?
back.
Ah, now you've got 8 matches.
now there's 8 matches, but let me see where they're located.
But you removed the square footage?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, so there's
1.7.
1.7. 1.7. Okay, so let's do this. See this radius here? You can highlight this and you see the little dot. If you click and drag it down, it'll make it smaller.
Okay.
So let's say, let's just look there. And then we have those 3. So let's click on results. SFR detached, okay. This is weird. Sometimes you guys might have to fiddle with it a little bit, right? You guys saw me change a few things, but this one is way off. So I don't know what the difference is here. Oh, the square footage.
No, bigger.
Oh, wait a minute. I had the wrong square footage in there. I was putting the lot square footage instead of the property square footage. So the square footage on the property is 2363. So we can actually use the top 2 as comps. And not the last one, because it's bigger, way bigger. So we could use those. But look, we don't even have to do anything. They both sold for 1.750. So that's our comps. Those are our comps. We can look at price per square foot. Let's do it anyway. Let's do Cloud CMA. And I'm gonna call this the Irvine Family Trust. And Sutton, Irvine, California, select it. And then just click on fetch listings. Shows me the map, okay, it's good. And the listings, and I'm not gonna type in anything under the suggested list price. Click on customize report. So we can actually use the price per square foot, the average price per square foot, and we'll get a higher price than this. But let's publish the report. Let's see what the average price per square foot is. Because our property is 300 square feet bigger than these comps. So,
It's an extra room, huh?
it's gonna be worth more money. They paid what is it? 155? No, they paid 1.155
Oh,
for it,
okay.
I think is what it is.
7.5, no.
So yeah, something like that. Okay, so let's go through this. Let me zoom into it. Average price per square foot is $839. Oh, sorry, hold on a sec. Oh, you know what? We can't use this one as a comp because it hasn't closed.
It's under contract.
Yeah. We can only use this one. But let's use that price per square foot. So $795 times, ours is 2363 square feet, 1,878,000. And I don't know what the second one sold for down here because it's in escrow, but ours is bigger. I don't know, since there's no exact comp for it, I would probably list it between 1.8, 1.85. And then let the market dictate what they're gonna get for it. But these are the only comps. So when the appraiser comes around and looks for comps, they're gonna look at these, they're gonna look at this and say, okay, these are 300 square feet less. I think it'll appraise for 1.85.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's bigger.
Because I think this one might close for more than that.
Yeah.
Although it is smaller than this one, so maybe they'll get asking price, who knows? Right? But then our price per square foot goes up. Right, and then we can, anyway. So there's a lot of things you can do with this. There's no exact science to it. But this is how you can come up with the suggested list price. It helps when you have multiple sales because you could use the average price, sold price, or average price per square foot. Does that make sense? Okay. And again, there's no exact science to this, because you still have to factor in the condition of the property. If the property looks the same as all the other ones, you can use that price. If it needs a lot of work, reduce it by the amount of work it's gonna need, maybe a little bit more. Sell it as a fixer, or if it's completely upgraded, it's got like all these things. Keep in mind that they're not gonna get what they think they're gonna get because they upgraded everything, and in their mind, their home's worth 2.5 million, but it's not, right? But I did this to it, but I spent this much money. It's like, just because you spent that much money on it doesn't mean that someone else likes it, or that they're gonna pay that much for it. I mean, there's nicer ways to say that, but. So I think that's it. Oh, wait, let's go to Zillow to see how much they think that's worth.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is way more. See how sometimes it'll undervalue it or overvalue it? Yeah.
You can only go based on their price.
No. But a lot of homeowners have this in mind already when you show up to your listing presentation. They already think in their mind, this is what I'm gonna sell it for. So you have to bring it back to reality and say, look, this is why you hire a realtor, because.
If it's on the lower end, that helps you, but if it's on the
Yeah.
higher end, you're gonna be like, oh.
Yeah, but you're gonna show them the evidence, right? You're gonna say, look, this is what the recent sales are, and this is what they sold for. Okay, anybody have any questions? Nope, okay, so with that said, we will see you guys next week. I'll send out an email about next week's class.
Do we know the Tuesday class?
No, I don't know yet for Tuesday.